Hello, Lambs. Welcome back to She's Worthy Ministries. So today we are getting into unpacking childhood trauma part 2. So in the last video, I had asked a couple questions for you to kind of sit and think about, what maybe some of your child abandonment wounds were and how those are affecting you today, and what are some of the things that you could do to kind of heal or help you to deal with some of those things that you were dealing with as a child. So today now I want to talk about now that you know. So if you recall from the last video, we talked about when you felt abandoned, how those abandonment wounds affect your childhood today, and what are some of the things that you could do today that could help provide the comfort and love that you didn't get when you were younger. So now my questions are based on all of those things, especially now that you've been able to identify what you need today, based on who you are today. My next question is, what beliefs did you form about yourself based on those abandonment issues? What are some of the things that you told yourself as a child, as a teenager, even as an adult today? What are some of those things that you're telling yourself because you were abandoned? And these things, these beliefs that you're telling yourself, are they valid? Is it for real, for real? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, based on what happened to you, which was out of your control, these beliefs that you carry, are they really for real? Do they make sense today? Are they valid? How can you take those beliefs that you have and change those beliefs so that it makes more sense to who you are today and supports who you are today? So in the beginning of the video, my last video, I said to you that I think it's really important that we also seek out therapy sometimes to help us kind of reframe the challenges and the trauma that we've experienced in our past. And so the next thing that I want to ask is, what can you do today to make yourself feel safe and supported? So based on the things that you've dealt with and based on the things that you've had to deal with as a child, or the abandonment or the trauma, what can you do today to change that? What can you do today to make yourself feel supported? Because we all have trauma, and we all have things that we've gone through that especially was not our fault and was out of our control. So how can you support yourself today with outside resources to kind of change the narrative that you've been carrying in your head? And based on all of this stuff that you're learning now about those traumas and those challenges, what practices can you develop, or what activities can you learn to kind of nurture and heal that inner child? So for example, one modality you can use is affirmations, right? So if you grew up in a house where maybe, say for example, one of your core abandonment issues is that you were never reassured, you were never told you were beautiful, you were never told you were smart, you were never told you were capable. So one of the activities that you could do today to feel safe and supported is affirmations. You stand in front of the mirror and you tell yourself you're beautiful. You tell yourself you're smart. You tell yourself you're capable, until it becomes something that you really start to feel within your inner spirit. Those affirmations, yet again, another example, is things that you can use to kind of heal that inner child, because you didn't get to hear it when you were younger, but you saying it to yourself now, especially if you're looking at yourself in the mirror, is you telling your younger self that the messages you received earlier were not true. And this is the truth. The affirmations that I'm saying to you right now is what is actually true. So it's about finding ways to provide the comfort and the love that you needed as a younger child today. Because I feel like if you're doing that, you are changing that narrative and you're removing those abandonment issues that you were carrying for the longest time. I guess the last thing that I want to say about, unpacking childhood traumas is forgiveness. We always underestimate the power of forgiveness. Sometimes I know there are certain things that people do to us that are absolutely terrible. And there's a part of us that feels like, how could we ever forgive somebody for doing those things? But you have to ask yourself if holding on to it and not forgiving is helping. And I'm pretty sure the answer will be no. Because you have to understand, when you forgive the person, the people, or the instance or whatever for what happened to you, you released it. You're actually letting it go. And it's also important that in tandem with forgiveness, that we accept what's happened to us. A lot of times people carry bitterness about childhood traumas because, and it's understandable because, of course, it was something that was done to you. You didn't do it to yourself, right? And you had no control. And if you had had control, you would have made a different choice. But I just feel like accepting all the time what's happened to you in your past is so key to moving forward and healing and growing and moving past the experience. So, I guess I'll leave you with those two questions, which is, can you forgive the person or the situation that contributed to these traumatic feelings and this traumatic past? And can you accept the past? Like, can you accept that it happened to you and that it happened for this very moment here, which is the growing and the healing that you are going through, so that you can then turn around and heal and grow somebody else? Remember, God calls you worthy.